Can we stand for the lighting of the candles? Terry, could you help us?
In the spirit of our ancient tradition that hallows and unites Israel in all lands and all ages, we now kindle Sabbath lights. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed art thou, O Lord our God, King of the universe, who has sanctified us by your laws and commanded us to kindle the Sabbath lights. May the Lord bless us with Sabbath joy. May the Lord bless us with Sabbath holiness. May the Lord bless us with Sabbath peace. Amen.
You remain standing. When we view life from the vantage point of weekdays, we see others as having less than their true worth, while we see ourselves as something more than what we are. But when we view life through Shabbat eyes, we recognize the image of God, both in ourselves and in others. We recognize, too, the true value of the accomplishments of others and the genuine measure of our own worth. May the rest and quiet of this hour of worship refresh our inner life and renew in us the sense of thy holy presence. Open our eyes that we behold truth and beauty in the words of the inspired teachers of thy will. Animate our thoughts and endeavors with the power of thy divine purposes, so that whatever our hand findeth to do, we may do with all our might. Fill our hearts with Sabbath peace and serenity, that we may hear the voice of thy Spirit and be moved to build our lives on the abiding foundations of thy law. Amen. We may be seated. Our service will continue on page 11 of our blue book with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom.
Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon. Ni Melech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Bless us with peace, O messengers of peace, messengers of the Most High. The Holy One, blessed is He. Depart in peace, O messengers of peace, messengers of the Most High. The Holy One, blessed is He. We continue with Psalm 29, responsive reading on page 12. A Psalm of David. Ascribe unto the Lord, O ye sons of the mighty, ascribe unto the Lord glory and power. The voice of the Lord is upon the waters, the God of glory thundereth. The Lord is upon mighty waters.
The voice of the Lord is bold. The voice of the Lord is full of might.
The voice of the Lord breaketh the cedars, yea, the Lord shivereth the cedars of Lebanon. The voice of the Lord flasheth flames of fire. The voice of the Lord causes the oaks to shake, and maketh the forest bare, while in his temple everything says glory. The Lord will give strength unto his people. The Lord will bless his people with peace. Amen. Lecha Dodi.
Lesson Otiferet Elitiwa Likrat Shabbat Lechu V'Nelcha Ki Bechor HaBaracha Merosh Mecherem Nesucha Sof Maaseh B'Machshava Tichila Oy v'shalom ateret bala gam b'simcha u'b'sahara toch emunei segula v'yichala v'yichala lecha rodi v'krat kala Shabbat Mekabela.
Among his faithful, sorrow tried, his chosen people, come, O bride. Behold, come the bride to meet, the princess Sabbath. Let us greet. We continue with responsive readings. Mizmor Sher Leom HaShabbat. It is good to give thanks unto the Lord and to sing praises unto thy name, O Most High. Upon the 10-string instrument and upon the psaltery and with a solemn sound upon the harp. How great, O Lord, are all thy works, how exceedingly profound are thy thoughts. When the wicked spring up like grass and the workers of iniquity flourish, it is that they may be destroyed forever. For lo, thine enemies, O Lord, for lo, thine enemies shall perish. All the workers of iniquity shall be scattered. righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. We shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon. They shall still blossom in old age. They should be full of sap and verdant. The Lord reigneth, clothed with majesty. The Lord is clothed and hath girded himself with power. The world is also established, that it cannot be moved. The floods, O Lord, raise themselves up. They lift up their voice, and the floods raise up their waves. Thy testimonies are most faithful. Holiness beseemeth thy temple, O Lord, unto the utmost of days. We can stand for the Baruch. Baruch et Adonai Amorah. Bless ye the Lord, who is ever blessed.
Baruch Adonai Hamevorach Leolam Vaed.
Blessed be the Lord, who is blessed forever and ever. We may be seated. Blessed art thou, Lord our God, King of the universe, who by thy word causest the evening to advance, who with wisdom openest the gates of heaven, and with understanding changes times and varies the seasons, and disposes the stars in their stations in the sky according to thy will. Thou createst day and night, causest the light to recede from before the darkness, and the darkness before the light. Thou causest the day to pass away, and bringest on the night, and makest a division between day and night. The Lord of hosts is thy name. Blessed art thou, Lord, who bringest on the evening twilight. Amen. And with everlasting love hast thou loved the house of Israel, thy people. A law and commandments, statutes and judgments hast thou taught us. Therefore, O Lord our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will discourse of thy statutes. We rejoice and exult in the instructive words of thy Torah, commandments and statutes forever and ever. For they are our life and the prolongation of our days, and on them will we meditate day and night. May thy love never depart from us. Blessed art thou, Lord, who lovest thy people Israel. We can rise for the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Baruch Shem Kevod Malkuto Leolam Vaed. Blessed be his name, whose glorious kingdom is forever and ever.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך, בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה, אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושמנמת מלבניך ודיברת בם, ושבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשכבך ובחומיך, וקשרתם לאט על ידיך, וחיו לתותפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might. And these words which I command thee this day shall be in our hearts, and we shall teach them diligently unto our children, and we shall speak of them when we sit in our house, when we walk by the way, and when we lie down, and when we rise up. And we shall bind them for a sign upon thy hand, and they shall be for frontlets between our eyes, and we shall write them upon the doorposts of our houses and upon our gates. We may be seated. And it shall come to pass, you shall hearken diligently on commandments which I command you this day, to love the Lord your God, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul, that I'll give the rain of our land in its due season, the former rain and the latter rain, that thou mayest gather in thy corn and thy wine and thine oil. And I'll give grass in thy field for thy cattle, and we shall eat and be satisfied. Take heed to ourselves, lest our hearts be deceived, and ye turn aside and serve other gods and worship them. Then the anger of the Lord will be kindled against us, and he will shut up the heaven, that there be no rain, and that the land will not yield her fruit, and we perish quickly from off the goodly land which the Lord giveth us. Therefore shall ye lay up these my words in your heart and in your soul, and ye shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be frontlets between our eyes. And we shall teach them to our children, talking of them when we sit in thy house, and when we walk by the way, and when we lie down, and when we rise up. And we shall write them upon the doorposts of our house and upon our gates, that our days may be multiplied, and the days of our children upon the land which the Lord sware unto our fathers to give them, as the days of the heavens above the earth. Amen. Vayomer Adonai Moshe lemor, Raber bene Israel, v'amata lahem v'zulayim, tzitzit al kanfeh, v'dignahem ledoratam, v'natnu al tzitzit, akanfa betil tachel, vayakel lakem v'tzitzit, uritem oto, zarkem et kol mitzvot Adonai, v'asitem otaham, ולא תעתורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתן זונים אחריכם, למען תזכרוהו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאת גטכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוקים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, Adonai Elohim, Amen. That we remember and do all his commandments, and be holy unto our God. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord your God. Amen. And our hymn tonight will be found on page 210, hymn number 5, Prayer.
Where is the soul sincere desire, uttered or unexpressed, from ocean of the hidden fire that trembles in the breast? Where is the burden of a sigh, the falling of a tear, the upward glancing of an eye, when none but God is near? Where is the simplest form of speech that infant lips can try? Where the sublimest strains that reach the majesty on high? Amen.
Shabbat Shalom. A couple of announcements. As I said last week, Eddie Zilber is coming to Jamaica. Everything is in order now, so our tickets booked and everything. So we'll see on Sunday the flyer will come out on the MailChimp. As I'd said to you before, we're going to have on the Sunday, she's going to address the congregation and any of our friends at Hillel. The tickets will be on sale for non-members, so we can get the word out, and the announcements will also come out along with the MailChimp. Again, reminding everyone that we are in the process of issuing the passes that are required now. So we are looking forward to everybody that needs and requires them to attend the office to Angela during the week and make those necessary arrangements. And just an early reminder, Passover is around the corner. We will be having Passover again this year at the Spanish Court Hotel, like we had last year in that big room. So all that has already been organized and planning is underway. Terry and the crew and Margaret and everyone are at work. The matzahs have been ordered, so we'll be well put together by the time Pesach comes around. We continue with responsive readings on page 18. True and firmly established is all this with us, that he is the Lord our God, with none besides him, and we, Israel, are his people. He is the God who hath avenged us of our adversaries and dealt out a recompense to the enemies of our souls. He hath caused us to tread on the high places of our enemies and exalted our horn above all who hate us. In his wrath he smote all the firstborn of Egypt and brought out his people Israel from among them unto everlasting freedom. His children beheld his might. They praised and gave thanks to his name and willingly submitted to his dominion. Altogether they praised thee, proclaiming thy kingly power, and said, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, the Lord shall reign forever and ever. Blessed art thou, O Lord, who hast redeemed Israel. Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu, Avinu leShalom, ve'halamidenu, Malkeinu, lechaim tovim u'shalom. Sukkot Rachamim V'Shalom. Baruch atah Adonai haporetz uvot shalom aleinu ve'alamo Yisrael ve'al shalayim. Amen.
Cause us, O our Father, to lie down in peace, and raise us up, O our King, to a happy and peaceful life. O spread over us the tabernacle of thy peace, and direct us with thy good counsel, and save us speedily for the sake of thy name. O shield over us and spread over us thy tent of mercy and peace. Blessed art thou, O Lord, who spreadest the tabernacle of peace over us, and over thy people Israel, over Jerusalem, and over all mankind. Amen. We can stand for the Shabbat V'Shamru.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורתם, ברית עולם. בני ובן בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. יתגלה ויתקדש שמי רבם, ילמד ברכותי וימליך מלכותי, ויצמח פרקני וקרב משכי. וחי כל יום כל, וחי כל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. השמרה במברך ולעם לעם מעמיה יתברך וישתבח, יתפר ותרומם ותנשא, ויתודה ויתקלה, ויתולה שבקודשה בריקו. אלא מן כל ברכתה, שירתה, תשבחתה ונחמתה, דמירון ימה ואמרו אמן.
In this moment of silent communion with thee, O God, a still small voice speaks in the depth of our spirit. It speaks to us of the things we must do to attain holy kinship with thee and to grow in the likeness of thee. We must do our allotted task with unflagging faithfulness, even though the eye of no taskmaster is on us. We must be gentle in the face of ingratitude, or when slander distorts our noblest motives. We must come to the end of each day with a feeling that we have used its gifts greatly and faced its trials bravely. O Lord, help us to be ever more like thee. Holy, for thou art holy. Loving, for thou art loving. Speak to us then, O Lord, as we seek thee again and again in the stillness of meditation, until thy bidding shall at last become for us a hallowed discipline, a familiar way of life, so that we may live on in deeds and bless other lives, and leave behind us the heritage of a good name. Amen. We can spend some time in silent devotion. my God, guard our tongue from evil and our lips from uttering deceit. Let our soul be silent towards those that curse us, and grant that our soul may be humble as the dust to everyone. Open our hearts to receive thy Torah, that our soul may pursue thy commandments. Speedily we beseech thee. Frustrate the devices and destroy the machinations of all those who rise up against us for evil. O grant it for the sake of thy name, grant it for the sake of thy right hand, grant it for the sake of thy Torah, grant it for the sake of thy holiness. O save us with thy right hand and answer us.
May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer. Amen.
Say shalom, Nemama, Umarakama, say shalom. Amen.
השמיים והארץ וכל סבם ויכל וים השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה וישפוט ויום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה ויברך אלוהים את ים השביעי ויקדש אותו כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות.
Thus were finished the heavens and the earth, and all the hosts thereof. God had finished on the seventh day his work which he had made, and God rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. God blessed the seventh day and hallowed it, because thereon he rested from all his work which he had created and made. O God and God of our fathers, accept, we beseech thee, our rest. Sanctify us with thy commandments, and grant our portion in thy Torah. Satisfy us with thy goodness, gladden our souls with thy salvation, and purify our hearts to serve thee in truth. Cause us, O Lord our God, to inherit thy holy Sabbath with love and delight, and grant that all Israel who hallow thy name may have rest thereon. Blessed art thou, O Lord, who hallows the Sabbath. Amen. And for those of our family and friends and members of our congregation who have gone before us, together we'll say the mourners' Kaddish. Kadal v'kadash merabah, Elma di brakute, v'likmatute, v'tzmarpukane, v'kare meshekeh, Hayekon v'yomekon, v'kayedekon b'et Yisrael, V'agala v'zman karim, v'meru. Amen. Shemei Rabbah Barak, Kalam Almei Almaya Yiparak, Ishtaba Vitar, Vikomam Vinaseh, Vitadar Vitale Vitalav, Shemei Rekodesha, Ela Miko Birkata, Shirata, Tishmakata, Vanekamata, Damiran Mi Alma, Vimaru Amen, Yehe Shalama Rabba Amen Shemaya, Hayim Basava Yeshua, Nekama Basava, Warula, Usalaka, Nakapara, Raka, Valasalan, Alakola Mo Israel, Unaru Amen. Say Shalom, Mama. Ubarakama, Vyase Shalom. Amen. Ubarakol Israel, Unaru. Amen.
Oh, say shalom bimruma, uberachama. Ya say shalom aleinu ve'al amo Yisrael. Oh, say shalom bimruma, uberachama. Ya say shalom aleinu ve'al amo Yisrael. Ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'emru Amen.
To all our beloved departed, whom we now remember, may peace and bliss be granted in life eternal. And may the Father of peace send peace to all who mourn, and comfort any bereaved among us. And let us say,
Amen.
we may be seated. Our service will continue on page 24 of our blue prayer book with the singing of the 23rd Psalm, "The Lord is my shepherd."
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake, for his name's sake. Yea, I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Yea, I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, thy rod and thy staff, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. They comfort me. Surely, surely, goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever, forever, forever.
Shabbat Shalom. going to share with you an excerpt from this week's Torah commentary from the Jewish Theological Seminary, which has created quite a stir, certainly all across North America. It opened with, and it's by a guy called Rabbi David Nevins. He's actually the dean of the rabbinical school at the Jewish Theological Seminary. And he starts with the opening phrase. Be calm now, Terry. Are women Jews? How provocative can one be? This shocking question, first phrased by the feminist scholar Rachel Aldar, is linked by Judith Plaskow to a portion in her 1990 book, Standing Again at Sinai. We were told when Moses descended from the mountain to prepare the people for revelation, he tells them, be ready for the third day. Do not go near a woman. Sexual contact makes one temporarily impure, and God wanted the people to receive the revelation in a state of purity. As Plaskow notes, Moses could have said, men and women do not go near each other. But instead, the Torah tells us he addresses only the men. In this passage, the otherness of woman finds its way into the very center of our Jewish experience. A former JTS professor emeritus, Judith Hackman, has persuasively argued that this exemption reflects their social subjugation. Very interesting. She writes, a woman's exemption from these acts has nothing to do with her household and child-rearing chores. She is simply a lesser person in the grand scheme of things in those days, subordinated to her husband and ready to take orders from him. I know you don't like that term. At least we can laugh about it. If the definition of a Jew is someone who serves God through the study of Torah and the practice of mitzvot, then women are assigned an auxiliary status, not their own independent standing as Jews. There is profound truth to this critique of the Bible and its rabbinic exegesis, and yet we quickly acknowledge that it is an incomplete account of women in the Jewish tradition. First, there is tension between the holes in the text and the lived experience of Jewish women who have long felt and been recognized as full members of the Jewish people. Second, even our ancient rabbis were troubled by the implication that women were excluded from revelation. In fact, rabbi after rabbi developed two substantial lines of interpretation specifically to include women in this formative event. While it is common to portray women as kind or merciful and men as strong or judgmental, the medieval Kabbalah reversed this pattern. In the Zohar, the feminine respect or aspect of God is associated with judgment, while the masculine aspect of God is associated with mercy. Why then did Moses address the men, we might ask? Because he feared that they would be selfish, caring only about their own purity and not that of their wives? In other words, we could say that the men required a warning not to keep the Torah for themselves, but to make sure the entire people were included. This midrash is often restated by Rashi, and many commentaries by Rashi have this restated over and over. Rashi even at times inverts the exclusion of women, making their experience central to the timing of revelation. It does not undo the otherness described previously, but it does show that at least the ancient rabbis considered the presence of women at Sinai essential. To be sure, Many of the Orthodox schools do not educate girls in the same fashion as boys. They are not in general taught the Talmud. They learn with rigor, however, and in non-Orthodox settings, such as ours, women and men have learned the same material for many decades. Likewise, in modern Orthodox settings, many of the most proficient teachers and other rabbinic literature today have a different perspective of women in their congregations. This shift in Jewish education has resulted in an expansion of the palace of Torah, as phrased by our forefathers. When the Torah is studied and taught by a broader portion of the Jewish people, when the experiences of people of different genders are included, then the conversation becomes enriched for everyone. Shabbat Shalom. Thanks for allowing me to just share that. I thought it was quite interesting, and there's a lot more in it you can read. I paraphrase some of it that tells you that the transition, just like it took place here, I can remember as a child, women were never participating in the service, and it gradually took place and was merged into our service just as it is here when you continue to read through the Torah. So we are not behind the times as some people might think. We're right up to date with what's happening in Judaism throughout the world. We can stand as the ark is open. Our service will continue with the singing of the adoration, Aleinu.
Aleinu, l'shabeach, l'adon hakol, l'tet k'lav etzer bereshit, shelo משפחות העולמה שלא צאן חלקם כהם וגורלנו ככל המורם שמיים ויוסף הארץ ומשווה וקרוב השמיים ממעל ושכינה תוזור ויעל מרומים הוא אלוהינו ואלוהינו אמרנו ברך בסולתו ככתוב לתורה ויראת היום להשבותה אליך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל בארץ מתחת היום
Know therefore this day, and lay it in our hearts that the Lord, He is God in heaven above and upon the earth beneath. There is none else. Amen. And for those in our community at this time who are sick or ill, in mind, body, or soul, we chant for their healing the Misha Berak.
Misha Berak Avotenu Bechor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength who blessed the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mechor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shema, renewal of body, renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We beseech thee, O God, on behalf of those who are stricken in health and strength, let thy blessings descend upon the means for the restoration of thy servants, and increase the wisdom and knowledge of all those who are battling on behalf of humanity. May the afflicted among us learn patience under trials, and speedily be restored to health and youthfulness. At this time, we specially remember David Enriquez, Candy DePaz, Wallace Campbell, Susie Moore, Ian Bruce, Hilary Matalon, Barbara DeCosta, Erica Cooper, Janice Pear, William and Helen Perkins, Eileen Reynolds, Susie Moore, Lisa Gore, Eleanor and Sharon Thompson. Baruch atah Adonai Rofeho le'amo Yisrael. Amen. Blessed art thou, Lord, who healest the sick of thy people Israel and of all mankind. Amen. We may be seated, and our service will conclude with the singing of Yigdal.
Yigdal Elohim Chai ve'yishtabach nitzav eretel mesiruto echad ve'en yachid ve'ichudo ve'gam ve'gam en sof ve'achduto en lo demutaguf ve'eluguf lo naro kelam kedushato kadmon bechol avar Hashem ivra rishon v'en reshit lereshito Hino Adon olam lechol nosa yoreh gulato u'malchuto zefam u'ato netano
setarenu mamit lesof dabar bekat muto.
O melech chassid, can me follow, no tender ashwang, kerishato, ishlak seketziamim, meshichenu, lift not mechakekes, Yeshuato. Metim lechael, beruch hasdo, baruch hareah, shetehilatu, erech shalosh esrei, yeit harim, hilom besod datel, vetorashto.
You can stand for the final blessings. Father, let thy blessing touch us and remain, guiding all our actions till we meet again. Father, keep us loving, brave and true and free, kind to every creature, all belong to thee. Unto all our children, here and everywhere, Father, give the comfort of thy loving care. Yamareka Kadonai Vishmareka. May the Lord bless thee and keep thee.
Amen.
Here Adonai Panamaleka Vechuneka. May the Lord make his face to shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee.
Amen.
Yis Adonai Panamaleka Vesemleka Shalom. May the Lord lift up the light of his countenance upon thee and give thee and all mankind the blessing of peace. Amen.
Amen.
Shabbat Shalom and a peaceful Sabbath to all. Join us for the Kiddush after. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Presidente. Short and sweet. Everything today. So, hey man, woman couldn't dream about come up here. Oh, they couldn't do this. They couldn't dream alone. I'm telling him. Come on. And when it first happened, yes. Yes. And you have an idea. Yeah. Yeah, but it was, I mean, hey, listen. When as a child, when I used to come to school, yeah, I want to sit upstairs. I want to sit because I went there with my father. How about that? And daddy tell mommy that she wants to sit over there, but I don't want to look on her. No, he just said that she must sit